If you remember, back in 2003, Bush honchoed a bill. I remember it was big news. They were saying it was going to protect pension funds. But the bill allowed them to invest pension funds in the markets. And if you really read it, it said they could take pensions. But then Bob's saying that the older law isn't superseded by that. Bob, I don't want to miss the forest for the trees because you're bringing up such incredibly important stuff. I don't even know if our listeners or the general public or a lot of new listeners we have on several new stations this week and XM picking us up realize what we're saying. This is absolute looting and highway robbery, and they're being so secretive about all these banks, brokerage firms, Chrysler, GM. Obama swore every dime would be accounted. Now he's saying national security, none of it will be accounted. I mean, they're going for broke here, Bob. How bad? Are they going to just steal and steal and steal till everything collapses?
Yes, that's their intention because they want everything to collapse. And that's the only way worldwide they can get people to be forced into world government, the acceptance thereof. And, you know, I wrote about this in 1967. Nobody was listening. They all thought I was crazy. And I could see I try to figure out how can I get people to accept this. And that's a theory that I came up with, the disembowelment of industry in the United States, Canada, and Western Europe, and a depression, and forcing the public to accept. You know, the question at General Motors is they're hiving off or spinning off the plants in China, Mexico, India, and other places.
That is GM. Those are the profitable parts.
That's right. And who paid for that? The company did. So how can they do that legally? They can't. And then the pension funds. You know, the management says that as of last year that they were whole. I can hardly believe that because for the past 22 months, the stock market is down 35%, and it was down as much as 50% at one point about 2.5 months ago. So those pension plans, like everybody else's, have to be offside or short, not having enough money, probably 40%, maybe 35%, maybe 50%. And so they're lying. I mean, those funds can't be. But they're going to steal them anyway, and they're going to give them stock. So if you want to go have your pancreas removed, you give the doctor GM stock. Of course, he's not going to take it.
It's unbelievable. Bob, I was out of town last Friday, but I was listening to the show. You were kind of making your prognosis worse than it's been in the past. Can you break down what the cards to you show in the short, mid, and long term? I mean, are things deteriorating now faster?
I think so. But they'll still be able to extend it. And what I mean by that is I expect the dollar to go down, and it's around 79 or so on the USDX right now, down from 89.5, which is a recent top. I expect it to go to 71 by the fall. And what's going to, I think, happen is what happened between November of 07 and June of 08. And that is other countries' businesses are going to, again, only even more so, stop accepting dollars. And that's going to cause a crisis. And I think it's going to be much worse this time than last time. And if the dollar is not down to 71.18, and again it's around 75 or 80 right now, if it's not down there, it'll get there. And if it's down there, it will go lower. And so I think this next 2 to 4 months is a very critical time for the dollar, and they can't hold it up.
Now, explain this basic equation to people that don't understand it. I mean, in layman terms, we're going to see massive commodity price increases if they start devaluing the dollar, like we saw a year ago with, gas for $4.50 at the pump, $150 a barrel oil. Can you explain that relationship? And even a lot of mainstream economists, I listened to CNBC on XM for 4 hours driving to the beach last weekend, and it sounded like Bob Chapman was doing the shows. They were actually admitting that this is probably the last time they're going to be able to hold off total destruction of the economy by pumping up the different things like, well, exactly, the stimulus going in and pumping up commodities. Stay there. We're going to come back and talk about this was a short segment, long segment coming up. Plenty of time for Bob Chapman to break this down. And I'm going to open the phones up for questions for Bob Chapman. Only for Bob Chapman on the economy, folks. You call in about chupacabras, I'm hanging up on you. 1-800-259-9231. Stay with us. Coming up in T-minus 26.5 minutes, we're going to simulcast the last 2 hours of the radio show today, live at PrisonPlanet.tv, as we do every day, Monday through Friday. I'm thinking about moving out of the Emma studios on Sundays, still being on 590 AM here in town, but moving the syndicated show into these offices so I can also do live PrisonPlanet.tv on Sundays. We've had a lot of requests for that. Alan Watt's coming up. If you haven't heard Alan Watt, very informative about the psychological makeup of the social engineers, the world they're building, the society they're setting up. He can interpret very accurately from that perspective why the elites are doing what they're doing, how it all fits into a larger narrative and the matrix-like false reality they've got us in. And then economist, inventor of a very popular stock market system, BBC TV host, syndicated radio host, on and on and on, Max Keiser. And guess who produces his TV show? Alec Baldwin of Team America fame. That'll always be Alec Baldwin's claim to fame, is Team America. Alec Baldwin, you've been very useful for me. Oh, Hans Blix, oh no. So a little bit of fun here. Max Keiser is coming up. Okay, going back to Bob Chapman. Okay, I've been interrupting you a lot, throwing in important questions, but nevertheless, I am fully informed on this, always learning more, but I'm fully informed on the basics. I know they're doing it by design. I've read the IMF, World Bank documents, Club of Rome documents, CFR documents, Bilderberg infiltrators. They're on record. Joseph Stiglitz has come out saying he was there and they're setting it up. John Perkins worked for him and the CIA and has gone public. And then on the other side, we've got, who we talked about a few weeks ago, we have George Soros running around at a press conference saying, I'm having a great crisis. I helped engineer it. This is the culmination of my life. I mean, this bastard is openly dancing on our grave very, very arrogantly, and I can't get the average yuppie to admit how bad it is or that the Republicans and Democrats have sold them down the river as world government is openly being announced in hundreds of newspapers and magazines like Time Magazine, telling us that it's the solution to all our problems. I mean, it's all coming to a head now. Keep breaking down what you see happening with the economy and how you see this unfolding and just all the latest on metals and other commodities. And that question I was asking before the break first is, what do you see commodities doing this summer into the fall and winter? What do you see happening with the dollar? Why were the Chinese laughing at Geithner?
Well, first of all, I see commodities higher as we go along, but not especially so. They've had quite a run back, and I think that they'll probably make another gain. Like, let's take copper as an example. It moved from 135 to 228 229 the other day. That's quite a move. And I expected to retrench at 180.90, but it didn't do so. It just kept on going. So we could get some more mileage out of that, but not a lot. And I think the same is true of oil. It could go to $80 and short of a war. That should be it. We're trading around 69 right now. So it's neutral to positive. As far as gold and silver, the day before yesterday, they took gold down $18 and silver down 60 cents. Yesterday, they were up $17.57 respectively. Today, the government attacked again in their manipulation, and at one time today, gold was down $28. And right now it's down $19.60, and silver has recovered somewhat. It's down about 50 cents.
Now, what does it mean when we see that pogo stick, up $20, down $20, up $20? in the last week. Explain to new listeners out there how they manipulate.
Well, under the executive order signed by Ronald Reagan in August of 1988, and I have the number here if you want it, they are supposed to come into the markets and smooth them during times of crisis. Well, that's not what they're doing. They distorted the executive order, and 24/7, all over the world, they manipulate markets. Who does it? The Federal Reserve, the Treasury. They're really the main components.
And they've been caught insider trading. They do this for select brokerage firms and banks' profits. The plunge protection team, or what, the president's open market committee on markets?